February 7th, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on 2000 tick chart using the NinjaTrader 8 platform. There was no economic data today that really moved the markets. It looked like it just kind of rallied in two big legs, and then for pretty much the last 5 hours, it consolidated in roughly a 15-point range, trading range. I didn't find too many setups, even with this choppy whipsaw at price action. I did take two trades. One was a loser and one was a winner. And the loser one I thought was a decent trade because I was playing off of this blue trend line, which I thought might have been early on the actual trend panel of what this price action was going to be. Then later I found this purple one, which fit better because the blue one I actually found and I had it up here and it didn't fit the tops very well. Then later I found the purple one and it fit much better. So I'm going to go through the trades right now. Volume wasn't that high today, so it was a little bit slower. So this is the pre-market. It looked like it was kind of forming some kind of consolidated bottom here, and then the top was here. So I drew the pre-market highs and lows. I wasn't too confident today was going to be a trading range. It looked like it had some really strong bullish momentum. So I was thinking it might have been a bullish day. Turned out it was, but I could have easily been wrong. Don't take that for me knowing anything. So on the open, prices started to move up. Ignore the purple channel for now. It doesn't exist yet. I had a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. This is a second entry long here. It's a decent signal bar. If you drew this yellow up channel like I did, then it might have been worth a trade. The thing I didn't like about it was a little bit far from the EMA. It's a really good signal bar and the risk is low. So I could understand if anybody took it. But as you can see, it probably would have picked you up and failed. The thing I wasn't too sure of was this is just within the first few minutes of the trading day, and I'm a little more weary of taking any trades that early in the day because it's quite volatile. Had the EMA actually been up here and it bounced off of, then I think this might have been worth a trade that I would have taken. So then prices continue moving. It kind of falls down this green channel. And this is actually where I see a second setup. I see a new high here, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long, this wasn't a good signal bar to go long on. And I noticed the EMA was starting to keep prices down. And then here, it creates a failed second entry long. So it ticked 2 ticks above and it flashed down, and closed very bearish. So I thought there's a possible trade here. It is aggressive though. And if you notice, it stopped right where 2 to 3 previous candles stopped. So if I want to take a trade, I was considering it, but I didn't because I also had this green channel going down. I thought, well, EMA is keeping prices down. It's bouncing and being rejected off the top of this green down channel. If I want to take a trade, I would have probably put it pretty much the same lows as this candle just to give myself a little bit of room. But I'd only enter after I saw what this next candle ticks below to ensure that it actually is going to break through because next candle could open here and then flash back up. So here, definitely it opened. It went 1 tick up, so it's debatable whether I would have gotten filled or not, and then it flashed down. So this is a interesting, I think, an aggressive trade, but it would have worked out. Prices then continue moving down, and it starts moving back up, moves on this yellow channel, comes back down here, moves on this orange channel. I don't see any entry points. And here, at this point, I saw this as 1 touch, 2 touch, and potentially a 3rd touch. So I was working off of this blue channel originally, blue trend line going up. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but it's not a clean second entry because the signal bar isn't very good. And then I drew this as a potential support, but I wasn't sure if the top of the trading range was here or not. Bounces up and moves up this green channel. I don't see any clean entries yet. It breaks out of this green channel, makes a new high, and makes 1 attempt up. And this is the second attempt, but this isn't a very good signal bar to go second entry long. It's too far from the EMA. Starts pushing up again. I draw this yellow channel. So I saw this as a spike in a channel. So it went from steep, slightly more gradual, but I'm not I don't really like this type of price action too much because it's these small candles, and then they got these big ones. It's a little sporadic, but it definitely is a very strong push up. And then it starts pushing back down. So I saw the new high, first entry long, second entry long, but this isn't a very good signal bar. I did draw this green channel coming down, but here, even though it's bouncing off the bottom of the green channel, this isn't a good enough signal bar for me to feel confident taking a long trade. Plus, it's below the EMA. And as you can see previously, prices has respected the strength of the EMA, and all of a sudden, prices are having trouble breaking through. So I'm thinking there's a potential reversal, because even though it wants to maybe test the highs of this yellow channel, it's already kind of coming back down. And these have been just kind of gradual moves. Pushes back up, and then now it breaks out of the green channel. So now it's above the EMA again. So it's a little confusing. I don't really like anything here because there's too many doji bars. Comes back down. I saw a new high, first entry long, pushes down. Technically, I have a second entry long here. I don't have this blue trading range established yet, so there's no key entry points. It's just a second entry long out in the middle of nowhere. Pushes up, falls into this orange channel. So when I look at this and I look back, I noticed price action has been following kind of these small shortened trend channels, but it's been kind of sporadic and choppy. But it does have a bullish bias. And so what I also noticed is when it touched once, twice, two, three times, and it touched here, I was convinced that this blue trend line was actually a trend channel, and it didn't fit too well here, but it fit pretty well down here. So that gave me kind of confidence for this next trade. So I saw this as a breakout, and it looked like it's a fail breakout. It's pushing back in, comes down, and this is what I actually took my trade. So it's a new low here. You have, let me zoom in. New low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short. Now it's bouncing off the EMA. It's bouncing off of what I consider the bottom of this trend channel. And it looks like prices might want to come back in. It might want to come back and test the highs of this orange up channel. So I thought this is a second entry short that's about to fail because it ticked one tick below and then it pushed it all the way back up. Actually, two ticks below and it pushed it all the way back up. It's a very strong close. So on the next candle, when it ticked one tick above, I entered the one tick above the highs and then started chopping around because I was thinking it was going to come back and test here. It's bouncing off the EMA, bouncing off of this trend channel or trend line. And of course, it doesn't though, because I'm wrong and it flashes down and it stops me out. So this is my first losing trade. And then it starts pushing through and it stays outside. So now I'm questioning whether this blue channel, I'm going to go ahead and delete this blue one here. It's no longer important. I'm debating whether this blue channel is even that important at this point. And so then it kind of comes back down. I see a potential support here. You have a second entry short here, new low, first entry short, second entry short. It's a bad signal bar to go short on. It starts moving up, and I'm thinking, I see this kind of consolidation, so I drew this red one. But then I look back, and I'm thinking maybe this one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch, up to potentially five touches. This might be where the real channel is. I drew the other side, and it fit the top much better than the blue one. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe prices are going to react off of this blue channel now. This purple channel, excuse me. The blue one is negated. The purple one might actually be the one in play. So I'm watching. It kind of pushes up. First entry long here. I think there's a possible trade here. This is a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. So it's a break of this green channel, makes one attempt up. This could be the second attempt up. It's bouncing off this purple channel trend line. I like that it flashed down and it recovered all of it, but it closed the high. The thing it's a possible trade, but I felt it was aggressive because the size of this candle is rather large. So you'd have to go for at least more than just 1 point scalp, maybe 2 to 3. But it was out of my rules, so I didn't take this trade. It did have a strong close though. The only thing that would, kind of push me over the edge would have been if this candle would have been bullish. So it'd be like bullish, and then this is kind of reinforcing the bullish uptrend. But it turned out I didn't take the trade and it worked though. When prices continue, starts moving down this yellow channel. I don't see any clean entries that I particularly like. It's one pushed up, then second push up. Looked like there's two legs that moved up. This is a second entry short here. but it's above the EMA. It's a little bit not that clean. It just came from three very strong green bars, so it makes me hesitant. On top of that, this signal bar didn't close low enough for my taste to feel like it's a safe trade, which is up. So now I actually had this trading range a little bit lower here. And at that point, when it broke up, I thought, okay, well, the trading range might be a little bit higher, which brought the midline of this trading range kind of toward where most of the price action looked like it was having a little bit of reaction to. Kind of looked like it had some trouble here, but then used it as support here. And then it kind of danced around it here. So it came down. So I saw this as a new high, first entry long, pullback. When it created the second entry long, now I was thinking, was there a trade here? It looked very aggressive because this is a really decent signal bar to go second entry long. It's below the EMA though. It is the first break of this orange channel. So it made one attempt up, push back, and you would be thinking maybe it's going to come back down and test the lows. But on this candle, when it formed like this, of course, you don't know this is going to form until it finally ends. Maybe there might have been a trade if you were aggressive and you put it one tick above and you would have gotten picked up for a quick scalp. But here, even though it looked nice after the fact, you really don't know in real time that's going to do that. You just see a really decent, really strong second entry long. Unfortunately, the bias currently is going down, and the bullish bias has kind of played out because it was bullish bias, but now it's just consolidating. It's been consolidating since, an hour after the open. So it just looks a little bit iffy. Turns out it would have worked out well, but this is where I take my second trade. So it's a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. I saw this as a potential higher low. It's far from the EMA though, but I also got another key entry point. It's a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. Technically, the second entry short hasn't failed yet because it didn't tick one tick above. But this momentum is so strong, and there's enough room to the top that I thought this is a worthwhile trade to take. I need to see what happens in the next candle. If this next candle, during the life of the candle, breaks one tick above, then I'm going to enter. And that's exactly what I did. When it opened and it went down a little bit, I forgot if it went down first, but it opened, it did tick one tick above. I dropped in my order, hoping to get filled right at the top to save a little bit of the how much I needed to risk. It picked me up and then it quickly got my fill. So I was pretty happy with that trade. First winning trade after my first losing trade back here. Then prices in continued chopping around. So it would have been good enough for more than 1 point, and my stop would have been down here, and I would have survived this one. But definitely seeing this would have made me nervous. Prices in continue chopping, breaks out of this yellow channel, and now it just kind of consolidates. And this is just very choppy trading. I don't really like when I see stuff like this because from the highs, it's like 50-17 to about 50-14. So it's only about 3 points. Then here, it's only about 5 points. And the setups weren't very clean. On top of that, price action really slowed down at this point. So it's just too many stems up here and too many stems on both sides that it just is just crawling at this point. I did draw this yellow trend line and I'd made a matching top thinking this is potentially a channel, but I didn't see anything particularly good. This is a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This is a terrible signal bar. It's too low. By the time the trigger bar closed, it's so strong up. It's just, it's just too whipsaw. I didn't really like it. This yellow line is actually the top of the measured move. So I saw one leg up, pull back, a gigantic second leg up, and it was looking like prices were having trouble fully pushing through. So it was just something I noticed, and I treated it as kind of a resistance line. Unfortunately, I didn't take any other trades after that, but there weren't really that many other trades to take because it's getting too late in the day in the last 15 minutes. So I kind of left things alone at that point. Kind of moves into the close. So kind of how I saw the charts today, wasn't too many trades that I could find. I actually was I thought this trade here where I got faked out wasn't too bad, but in hindsight, I think there's just too much price action going on back here to definitively know if it was going to, push up. But I thought in the chop, there might have been enough for me to get a 1 point scalp. Now, keep in mind my entry, I actually, the price action did move 1 point. It just didn't fill my order. So I entered here, and this is a 59.75, and this went up to 50. 10.75. So it went up, touched my order, it didn't tick through, and came down. In hindsight, I think knowing that there's some kind of resistance here, because I actually thought it might have get stopped out up here and not necessarily down here. And it already proven that it had trouble once here, twice here, and potentially a third time here, but this is way too far back in history. I probably should have tried to enter at the highs of this, then I probably would have gotten a successful trade. But that's neither here nor there, just something to keep in mind of next time, just kind of add to my knowledge base. So hopefully that was helpful.